Some of the scribes said to themselves, "This man blasphemes. He claims the rights and prerogatives of God." But Jesus, seeing their thoughts, said, "Why do you think evil and harbour malice in your hearts? For which is easier, to say, 'Your sins are forgiven and the penalty remitted,' or to say, 'Get up and walk'?" When the crowd saw it, they were struck with fear and awe, and they recognized God and praised and thanked him who had given such power and authority to men. The scribes and Pharisees, despite seeing all these miracles that no one had performed before taking place, they didn't like this guy. Okay, they didn't like Jesus because he was always right and he was always rebuking them, yeah, because they needed it and they didn't like that. Thy faith hath made thee whole. Chapter 10. And whoever shall not receive you, nor hear your words, when ye depart out of that house or city, shake off the dust of your feet. So basically, have nothing to do with them, yeah? Don't go back. Verily I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah in the day of judgment than for that city. Yeah. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there hath not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. Chapter 11. Now, a lot of this hasn't been highlighted. I might go for it again sometime. Let's carry on. Matthew 13. I've highlighted a lot here. Matthew 13 about the angels sent for the gathering. Yeah? You should all know about that by now. I've done enough videos on it. Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up? But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares ye root up also the wheat with them. Let both grow together until the harvest, and in the time of harvest I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them. What's taking place in these mega churches right now? The majority are being deceived by it, and the fact that they want horrendous performances like that just says it all basically. They don't really want Christ, they just want the extravaganza, the performance itself. They aren't spirit-filled Christians with a love of truth and Jesus Christ, okay? They just want the show. These are angels gathering you, okay? You better be alert, alright? You haven't got a clue what's going on, have you? And bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn. The enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. The tares are gathered and burnt in the fire. The Son of Man shall send forth his angels, and they shall gather out of his kingdom all things that offend, and them which do iniquity, and shall cast them into a furnace of fire. So shall it be at the end of the world. The angels shall come forth and sever the wicked from among the just. Okay. What's interesting here, I put a note here. It says, sever the wicked from among the just. Not just from the wicked. Alright, and then we've got this about gather together first the tares. So these angels are gathering the wicked, the tares, first, and they're severing them from the just in these churches. Okay? You see where I'm going with this? These angels, they do the will of God, okay? And most of the time, that doesn't always turn out good for man, okay? They're not here for you. They're doing God's will, not man's. Just bear that in mind when Jesus says, beware of the angels sent for the gathering. Well, he doesn't say beware of the angels sent for the gathering, but I am, okay? Because these angels, they're not the ones, they're not your stereotypical angels, okay? For a lot of you perceive angels to be like, no, okay? Some of them could even be fallen angels. And God's using them to gather you, the tares. Yeah, sieve you out. Try and catch you out. That's exactly what I believe is going on in Matthew 13. Because I've seen it from my own two eyes in these mega churches. It's all a test. These angels sent for the gathering are trying to catch you out, alright, with their evil and wicked acts. It's all an illusion to see which ones of you are tares. You better wake up. You better be alert, like I just said. Okay, otherwise they're going to gather you, and you're not going to end up going where you expect, okay? They're gathering you for the fire, to be burnt in the fire. And they are masquerading as benevolent church leaders. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. Right. Sent to catch you out and gather you to be burned in the fiery furnace. A prophet is not without honour, save in his own country and in his own house. Which is basically saying that a prophet isn't welcome in his own country. He has to venture out where he will be more welcome. This is John the Baptist. He is risen from the dead, and therefore mighty works do shew forth themselves in him. Let's carry on. Matthew 16. When it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and low ring. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but can you not discern the signs of the times? A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. Take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. So once again, he's rebuking the Pharisees and the Sadducees in this case. He could see wickedness in their hearts as they plotted against him. Okay, they were hypocrites. That's what he called them. How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? So, once again, he really doesn't like them. Well, you wouldn't either, would you, if they're the ones responsible for getting you crucified? Yeah, because of the evil that was in their hearts. He was right all along. Be careful and on your guard against the leaven, ferment of the Pharisees and Sadducees. And they reasoned among themselves about it, saying, It is because we did not bring any bread. Yeah, right. They didn't bring any bread. Just shows how lost they were. Yeah, look how lost these guys are. Doesn't understand why Jesus is angry with them and thinks it's because they didn't bring any bread. Well, he meant what he said, I've put in the notes here. It had nothing to do with bread. The people did not listen to his message. Blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. That's Simon Peter, who understood Jesus was the Christ. On this rock I will build my church, and the gates of Hades shall not overpower it. But he turned and said unto Peter, Get thee behind me, Satan, thou art an offence unto me, for thou savourest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. So this is basically Peter, who began to rebuke Jesus, saying, Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee. This is basically Jesus saying that he is to be crucified and shall rise again on the third day. And Peter's saying, no, don't say that, that isn't going to happen. And Jesus suddenly turned and says, Get behind me, Satan. Yeah. This is the spirit of Satan, speaking here. This is what was meant to be. This was Jesus' destiny. And then Peter starts to contradict that. Yeah. And that's why he refers to him as Satan. Right. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, If any man will come after me, let him deny himself, and take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it. Here we go, my note. Peter was trying to talk him out of his destiny. This is why he calls him Satan. Yeah. Look at this. This is where the Roman Catholics get it so wrong. And it even says down here, footnote, and I've been through it in my LDRCC videos on Roman Catholic Church, please check those out. I think it's part 1, Foundations. Roman Catholics believe that upon this rock I shall build my church, which is what Jesus says here. They've interpreted that to mean that upon Peter's remains, his dead body, their Roman Catholic institution shall be built, and it will be God's. This is ridiculous. It's silly. Silly. The footnote here, the rock on which the church is built is traditionally interpreted as either Peter's inspired confession of faith in Jesus as the Messiah, or it may be Peter himself. Let's just cross that bit out there. Yeah. Peter knew that Jesus was the Christ. Okay. And upon that understanding of who Jesus was, the church shall be built. Okay. Born again followers of Christ. And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? For the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. Verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death, till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Here we go. I've made a note here. This is the same as Moses. Both went up a high mountain. Why? Most likely to communicate with God, a high point. Bringeth them up into a high mountain apart. Here we are. Jesus takes Peter, James and John, his brother, it says here, and brought them up into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elijah, talking with him. So that's a pretty epic moment there. Yeah. We're in chapter 17 here.